Are you one of the people in life that want to make a massive shift in what you're doing today? You want to get different results. You're not satisfied with what you're getting today. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that have been there. I've been there. I was a corporate president and I had the top producing team in my division, but I wasn't satisfied. It wasn't fulfilling to me anymore. And I made a change. I stepped away. It scared me. If you want to talk about fear, I can tell you what fear is like when you're walking away from something you've done for, in my case, 38 years and did it very well, and starting something brand new and unknown, going from a salary, benefits, and 401k to I'm a startup. I'm going to do it myself. That's a lot of fear. That's a lot to process. And as I'm looking at it, I realized early on that I had to have a lot of faith. I had to have a belief in myself. I had to have a faith in I can do this. My wife's partnered with me on this, so we're doing this together. And it has its ups and downs, more ups than downs, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you and sugarcoat it as it's easy. It takes work. There's no shortcuts to success. So it's a question of what do you feed your mind? Do you live in faith or do you live in fear? Do you tell yourself good things that are going to happen and where we're going? Or do you sit back and think about what could go wrong? What if? What if this happened? There's a big shift in thinking between faith and fear. And I want to talk briefly about that today. You see, both of them are rooted in the unseen. Faith is rooted in the unseen as much as fear is. They also both take the same amount of energy. It takes just as much energy to be faithful and think in that respect as is to be fearful. What creates this fear that we have? Where does that come from? Well, look around you. I opened up the internet this morning and I saw nothing but strife across this world. I had to dig to find any positive story that had any uplifting feeling to it at all. Same with social media. Not a lot of good resides there in many cases. The local news this morning, as I was making coffee and getting ready to start the day, boy, I tell you, I live in Orlando, happiest place on earth, arguably the number one tourist destination in the world. But if you were sitting in a resort somewhere with your family and you were watching the news, you'd have thought, where did I bring my kids? The reality is it's a great place to be a kid, great place to raise a family. But you wouldn't know that watching the news. And it's no different. If you were in New York, Houston, Los Angeles, London, Rome, Tokyo, Australia, you get much the same there as well. So we got to combat this fear that hangs over us and is pushing upon us. And so I ask you, what do you allow into your head? When you're having your self-talk, are you talking about things that are positive, or are you allowing the negative and the what ifs and the worry to permeate your thoughts? Scientists have done research and say that greater than 90% of the things we worry about don't happen. So why do we give them credibility? If they're not rooted in reality, why do we think about them and give them credibility? Because it's about control. We want to be in control. We want to have control of every situation. The fear is really the root cause of not being in control. So take control. When a negative thought hits you, you just say to yourself, stop. And you think of what the opposite to that thought would be. Think about it this way. What's the opposite of knowledge? It's ignorance. So if you're not feeding yourself with knowledge, if you're not growing, if you're not learning, then you're allowing ignorance to take root. It's like knowing and unknowing. Knowing something and being proficient at it's better than not knowing anything about it and taking a wild stab at it. It's the same thing with our fear and our positive thoughts. We've got to stop fear from permeating our thoughts and allow the positive to come in. Now, I do want to qualify fear. I don't want you thinking that, let's say tomorrow, you're giving a presentation in front of a number of people and you're nervous and you're getting the feeling in your stomach and the nervous energy. That's a good thing. That is your preparedness coming out, and you're going to be on point and do a great job. It's the same in sports. Many great athletes talk about it. When I was a youth and into my early adulthood, I was a good athlete. And I always got the butterflies in the stomach before the game, whatever sport it was. And it was a good thing. I liked that feeling because I knew I was focused I was prepared and I was ready and I would play my best. If I didn't have that feeling, I'd be worried that it was not going to be a good outcome. So don't confuse fear with nervous energy. But fear, if not capped, if not managed, will run rampant through your mind and can create a lot of havoc and chaos. And we don't want that. So when the negative thoughts come, stop, step away. You see, the universe is a series of vibrational lines. If you were to picture them going from the ground to the sky. And the more you're rooted in negative thoughts and the worst case outcome and the what ifs, you're giving off a negative vibration, and the universe is feeding that, and you're going to get negative back. Conversely, if you're focused on positive things, if you're meditating to clear your mind, if you're helping others, if you're doing things that are benefit to humanity, you're thinking on a much higher plane. Your positivity is rising and you're going to attract positive things. We have control over that. As much as we may not know it or believe it, we do. You can chart your own destiny. You can set a course for your goals, for your dreams, for whatever reality you want. I've always said, if you can dream it, you can do it. I've been studying personal development since 1988. I've imparted it through my entire life in business and in my personal life, and it makes a difference. And it's had a great, great impact on all the wonderful things that have happened for me. It afforded me the ability to walk away from a corporate career and say, I want to do something different. You can too. But you first got to trust, you first got to believe, and you've got to take the negativity and you've got to push it aside. Hope you have a great day.